So we tested the drag wheels the other day on this 2024 S650, the 18x6 Weld Race Series, the USA made on the fronts. We're going to go ahead and add this 3/16 inch spacer. I think we'll have plenty of, we'll still have plenty of lug clearance and everything like that. I think we'll probably still get at least 9 or 10 turns, which I think will be plenty. Let's get these mounted up. So I measured this with the, again, your tightest spot here is right there. But this does go at an angle in the brake angles too. So it looks tighter than it is, but I think you've actually got pretty good room there. We can get these calipers in and start pushing them right about 900 thou. They'll wedge in. And I think that's good. I know Bear always says you want to have at least 100. They like to have 100 thousandths clearance, but you could go as low as 60. So I think we're good here. I think this will be plenty of room. You know, as you can see the light when you get the angles. Plus you're a little weird angle trying to get this in on the curve, but I think we're good to go on that. We got 10 full threads of engagement, and I think that's going to be plenty of lug nut for these fronts. Looks good. The other thing I wanted to show you guys, when you're dealing with tight brake clearances and things like this, the first thing all these wheel shops want to do is put these stick-on weights on the inside, and you're never going to get big brake clearance with that. Sometimes they got them here, sometimes they got them in here, sometimes they got them on both. So my guy up at Tire Discounters, we have them use the clip-on type weights. You just got to make sure you got big enough clips for the back of these because they got a pretty big lip, and with this tire, how it is. But we always recommend those kind of weights when you're balancing the wheels. That way you don't have to worry about them interfering with brake clearance. So the other thing we're going to be doing is the IRS centering sleeves. This particular set is from UPR, our friends at UPR. One of my employees actually had a set sitting here. UPR, Stita, and BMR, all three great companies. We sell all three, they make these. Insert these on the front and the rear. The rear is a little trickier to get in. We're probably going to have to drop the cradle all the way out for that. The front ones, though, are really nice. Basically, the large bolt that goes inside of here, what it does, you've got all this slack from the factory in this big hole. And when you put these centering sleeves in, it just helps keep that bowl and keeps the cradle centered. And with the cradle more centered, it's going to keep wheels from rubbing. Because we've seen some that are off from the factory a bunch, where on these 18x10s, with the 6.7, where it actually rubbed on the inside, just a hair. So with the centering sleeves in there, we shouldn't have that issue. And again, once we shave some more off the back pad, it'll be even nicer. And this back driver side is pretty much your tightest side to get these in, just because of the way the exhaust routes. The other side, not as bad. You'd think it'd be exactly the same, but it's not. It's a little easier to get your socket up in there. But then we'll slide this, again, last one in. Overall, what we typically do, we loosen all 4 cradle bolts a little bit, and then we support the cradle on a stand. And then just one bolt at a time, just take one out at a time and then put it back in. Phil, give me that bolt there. And it's Phil's birthday, everybody. Everybody say happy birthday to Phil. Phil's one of my data guys, and then he also helps out. He's kind of my car chief. He backs up my crew chief when we're out of town racing. He does a lot to help us out, helps us with some of the content as well, as far as making videos and things like that. But he popped over here first thing this morning in my personal garage. We're not up at the shop, just my personal garage. And but these dropped in real nice. And we got to thank Phil. Another thing, say thank you, Phil. Phil is great at buying parts and not actually installing them on his car and leaving them sit. He's had a set of lowering springs for, I think it might be 1.5 years now. How long you had the springs, Phil?
1.5 years.
He's had the springs for about 1.5 years. And Phil, I'll make a video. And he still has not installed the spring. So all the guys in the office, DJ, Mike, Jake, they kind of bust his chops. But the only good thing was he had a set of Stita Pro Action shocks and struts for his personal car. And we didn't have a set in stock. And we had a customer last week that wanted a set. So Phil just went ahead and we took his and sold them, and then we bought another set shipping to us at this store for him. So everybody say happy birthday, Phil. And again, thank you, Phil, for not installing your parts. As we're finishing these off, we don't tighten them all the way down. We do the front first, typically a little bit on one side, a little bit on the other, then come to the back over here, and we'll work our way around a couple times, just tighten these up just to make sure this is as centered as it can get. As we look in here, you'll see you got some tight areas here, but it may even be a little tighter up in your, right up here. Same as the front brakes where you've got that clearance right there. Try to get in here. Looks like we could probably shave about a ½ inch off this back pad, but I'm probably going to do 3/8 of an inch to start with. I don't want to go too much and then have to add a spacer back in, but I think about 3/8 of an inch, and that'll take this, you know, to about a 6.9½ backspace roughly. And again, when you put it up, like I said, on these specs, when you look at it, now the car's sitting off the ground, so the wheel's leaning out. You know, it sits out a little bit, but once you get down on the ground and your camber changes, that's going to tuck back in. And again, with the centering sleeves, definitely for sure, shouldn't have any rubbing issues. We never did. A lot of people run these on the GT500s without issue. But just for tucking purposes and looks, I still want to take about 3/8 of an inch off just to move it in. And again, 3/8 again, 0.375 or whatever. So that actually take us to just over a 7-inch backspace. Sorry, usually I'm pretty good at math, and I think that'll sit fine on these. But for the Dark Horse, that's definitely what I think you're going to need to do. And again, you don't have to shave off the back. Now the trick is, Weld doesn't have a lot of these wheels. We've got a couple sets in stock, and we're going to have to try out the USA made version too, because I don't know 100% that those are set up for the GT500. I don't know if they have fitment for those yet. We're going to check that out on some of the USA made ones. Or you've got the optional forge lines as well, which we know we can do an 18x11 on those, and those are going to clear. We already had those on the car as well. You will spend a little bit more money with that though. Of course, the most important thing, make sure you torque your lug nuts down. You want to make sure you've got proper torque. These are 14 millimeter, so we always get 110, 120 foot-pounds of torque. But make sure the torque, that's the last thing you want to do is get out on the road and have a wheel go flying off on you. And again, usually after 100, 200 miles, we go ahead and retorque them again when we're keeping the same wheels on. If we're changing the drag pack out a lot, we get home, we'll just pop it back off and swap the street wheels back on. Hey guys, it's Beefcake coming to you from the Dark Horse. Headed down to our local drag strip, Edgewater. Threw our drag pack on today. We're going to go ahead and take it down. I don't expect it to really pick up much from the draggy times. I mean, we ran a couple 12.3s with the draggy, 12.3s, 12.5, 12.6. Just playing around launching, we finally got it down into the 12.3s. Really wasn't spinning very much. You know, a little bit on the 2 to 3. If you watch my other video on the 2 to 3 shift, it would short shift it, just like the F-150 does. When I'm out on the street, it'll short shift it for whatever reason, something in the strategy or logic. If it picks up just a little bit of spin, it's going to short shift. So with the drag track on, it's probably not going to do that. But, you know, I don't expect it to pick up a lot. These are taller tires. They're 305, 45, 18, so they're 29.5 inches tall. Will that help us? Will it hurt us? It all depends on, I guess, where it's going through the traps at. But it should, you know, it'll be fun anyway, just to get out and run the car and see how she does and get an actual number. We'll get out and run it, you know, maybe a 1/10 quicker. If it's not, you know, if it's not short shifting, we'll see. We'll play around with some different launches at the track too. I'll try some off idle, and I'll try to, you know, foot brake it up, maybe try to foot brake and flash real quick, and, you know, see if we can get a good launch. But I expect it's going to be pretty consistent on a stock car. We'll probably do some hot lapping on it, but if I had to guess, I'm hoping to see some 12.2s, at least a 1/10 better than we saw on the draggy, but we won't know till we get there. Guys, that was hot off the street. We were maybe sitting for 2 minutes after an hour and 15-minute drive. So kind of, I stalled it up just a little bit. Basically just held the brake, hit the gas, and then, you know, just a couple milliseconds off of mashing the gas, I let off the brake to try to get a little bit more of a flash on the converter. So we'll just see how that goes. Rolling up to the tower. Thank you. And looks like a 1248. Really hoping, my draggies have been like 1220s, 1230s, so hoping for a little bit better than that. Mile an hour is lower too, 112, which we've been hitting 115. Now, I did run this one in track mode versus drag mode, so I'm going to hot lap it and try it in drag mode. And again, that could be in the launch, 19260 foot. Next one I want to try just launching off of idle, and I'm going to put it down into drag mode. See if that makes any difference. So just finished the second run, shifting right before the quarter mile. So we got a taller tire too. So I was thinking about that last run where we had like 112, where I'd been seeing 115 on the draggy, and I'll have to go look at my draggy from today. I did a couple 1220s today on the draggy. I didn't look at the mile an hour though, I just did a quick glance, so I'll have to check that out. It did seem like it shifted a little bit higher RPM in drag mode. I felt like track, it was like 72 to 73 maybe. This seemed like it was getting closer to 75. I can't be for sure about that, but didn't seem like it spun at all. And again, I did hot lap it, so the engine's a little warm. So we'll be curious to see if this is any better or not, or same or worse. What do you know? So drag mode, 1224, 114.71. So 60 foot, right about the same, it seems like, 195. And that was just launching off of idle. So if you compare the two, and again, that was hot lapping it, 195. And actually the 60 foot was better on the other one, 192, stalling it up. So maybe if I try combining stalling it up, if I try combining stalling it up with the drag strip mode, maybe that'll give us a little bit more. For some reason, my line lock wouldn't engage this time. Why? I have no idea. But let's go up and we'll do another hot lap. All right. Now we're going to try to stall it up as much as we can. Shallow stage as much as possible. Again, we're hot lapping here. So still a 1224, 19260 foot. So we did drop 300s off our 60 foot, which should have improved us on our ET. It didn't. It got us back to 115 mile an hour. Was really hoping for that 12-teen out of the car. Getting a few raindrops now, so they may end up slowing us down for a little bit. I'm thinking maybe if I cool it down, it should be good. Maybe get that teen. I don't know that's going to get a whole lot better than that, to be honest with you, though. Maybe a high 12-teen without any other modifications. You get a lighter driver. Don't forget, I'm 300 pounds, so I'm a big boy out here. So if you look, you can see on the windshield, we've already got a steady mist. If I know Edgewater, it's going to take them. We'll be down for an hour and a half. So I'm going to go ahead and call it for this night. I got figured out pretty much what I wanted to know. The draggy, very, very accurate. I mean, I did a 1223 and a 1224, I think, with the draggy. And we just went a 1224 at the drag strip. So very, very consistent on the drag. Like I said, with a cool down, I think, playing with the 60 foot, we can maybe get a 12-teen out of it. I don't think it's going to do any more than that. Not with my weight. The car can definitely be faster. I want to try to stop at some scales on the way home and just see what this thing weighs in at. But overall, it's about what I expected. Like I said, the drag pack, I didn't expect it to pick up a ton. I just expected it to not short shift that 2 to 3, which it didn't. Made it consistent. The one time it didn't do it on the street, we're getting those 1220s. So I'm pretty happy with that. It won't take much to get this into 11s. A lighter, like I said, maybe a 12-teen and a lighter driver, and you're right there. But again, this is a full weight Dark Horse. I want to try to find a scale to stop and scale this thing out at. But for tonight, we're going to call it a night, just because I don't want to sit here and wait an hour and a half to get any more runs in. Look at the scale here. It's saying 4240 with me on here, 4220, 4240. See if I step off. Pretty accurate, 3920. I'm right about 300 pounds, so the scale should be pretty accurate. So the car weighs, with half a tank of gas, 3,920 pounds. on a full weight performance pack car. Again, I'm going to step back on 4220, so right at 300, so probably within 5 pounds, I would say. All in all, I think we got some pretty good data. My draggies, again, 1220s is what we've been seeing, and that was with just a teeny bit of that short shift on the 2 to 3. Again, whatever spin. Drag mode definitely seems to be the quicker mode. It was faster than track mode by almost 2/10. You know, I didn't even think about trying to bring a data logger just to data log the runs and see if that, you know, the computer would pick it up. I know even on the F-150s when they were still locked, I could still data log and get data out of the system. Pretty happy overall, pretty consistent. 2 1220s with the draggy today, and then I went 2 1220s at the drag strip. And again, that's hot off the street. I mean, I drove an hour and 15 minutes to the track. I waited maybe 3 minutes before the first run, and every run was hot lap, and my quickest runs were the last 2 runs. I think cool down a little bit, it would do better. I'm not really worried about the transmission. Everybody tries to run these 10-speed transmissions too cool. We got a lot of experience with our 2015 that makes over 1400 wheel. You want some heat in this transmission or it's not going to work right. Ford's thermostat doesn't even open until 190 degrees, so you want some heat in there. The biggest downfall for us is going to be weight. Again, I'm out there 4,220 pounds running this car. It's a lot of weight. As a drag racer, you probably should, you know, get the base model, get the small brakes and everything like that. Then we can switch out to some drag brakes, go even lighter, things like that, which we may end up doing still anyway. It's one of those things we do a lot. I'm sure there's plenty of market out there for my Brembos. And we'll just have to see, you know, things like that will cut a lot of weight. I know a drag pack over base brakes on a 15 to 23, that's going to net you 92 pounds with the bear kit. You go up to, oh gosh, you know, you go up to the performance pack and you're cutting just about 100 pounds or so. And that's a lot of that's rotational weight. You're going to get a good 1/10 or better out of that. Just a quick synopsis of the drag strip tonight. Pretty happy with how everything went. I would have liked to seen that 12-teen. I thought maybe I would be able to squeeze it. I think if the rain hadn't moved in, you know, we might have got a 12-19, 12-18 out of it, you know, with a little bit of a cool down and that perfect launch. But, you know, at this temperature, almost 80 degrees, I'm sure elevation's around 2,500 feet. I don't think it was meant to be there. But again, you know, we're just starting out. We're just starting playing. Happy with the car. So, you know, we'll be doing superchargers, axles, drive shafts, everything. Just testing everything out for you guys. So again, anything you need, beefcakeracing.com.